You're scrolling on a device powered by roughly 5 to 10 grams of cobalt. That cobalt likely originated in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where an estimated 40,000 children, some as young as 6, haul ore through collapsing tunnels for $1 a day. This is the hidden human cost buried inside your phone's battery. And the chain connecting your screen to their suffering runs deeper than anyone wants to admit. We live in a world bound by constant connection. Right now, more than 6 billion smartphones are active across the globe, driving economies, capturing memories, and managing daily routines. From the morning alarm to the late-night scroll, these sleek devices are treated as clean, effortless necessities. Yet the power keeping these screens alive depends on a physical reality that remains entirely out of sight. Every swipe, every video call, and every location search consumes energy stored in a compact chemical cell. We plug our devices into the wall, watch the battery percentage rise, and expect seamless performance. But this instant power relies on an opaque global scramble for raw elements. Modern consumers expect thinner phones with longer run times, forcing developers to push battery technology to its absolute physical limits. To make these dense power sources safe and stable, manufacturers rely on mined minerals. In a collective rush toward a wireless future, society has quietly tethered its most intimate daily habits to a supply chain of severe human sacrifice. Inside the sleek, sealed casing of a smartphone, the battery operates as a complex chemical engine. At the heart of this engine lies the cathode, the positive electrode that determines how much energy the cell can store. In virtually all modern mobile devices, this cathode relies on layered oxides containing cobalt. At the atomic level, cobalt acts as a structural anchor. As lithium ions flow back and forth during charge cycles, cobalt stabilizes the layered crystal lattice, preventing the material from degrading or collapsing under constant electrical stress. This high stability is what allows a battery to remain incredibly thin while delivering hours of high-performance screen time. Importantly, cobalt also serves as a chemical safeguard. It binds oxygen tightly within the cathode structure, raising the threshold for thermal runaway and preventing the cell from overheating or catching fire. Replacing cobalt is not simple. Alternative chemistries, such as lithium iron phosphate, completely eliminate the metal, but they incur an energy density penalty of up to 25%. In the highly competitive smartphone market, where millimeters of thickness and hours of battery life dictate success, such a sacrifice is commercially unacceptable. This rigid engineering reality binds modern tech directly to a single element. As smartphone production remains high and electric vehicle manufacturing surges, the pressure on the global cobalt supply intensifies, transforming a microscopic engineering solution into a massive, unyielding pull on the Earth's resources. To satisfy this unyielding global demand, the entire tech industry converges on a single, precise point on the map. In the southern region of the Democratic Republic of the Congo lies the copper-cobalt belt, stretching across the provinces of Katanga and Lualaba. This geological anomaly holds roughly 70% of the world's known cobalt reserves and accounts for the vast majority of global production. Practically every major battery supply chain eventually leads back to this specific slice of Earth. But this extraordinary wealth of natural resources has created a profound and painful paradox. Below the surface lies billions of dollars of critical minerals, yet above ground, the local population faces systemic insecurity, poverty, and danger. Instead of funding schools, roads, or healthcare, the resource rush has transformed these provinces into a territory of extreme imbalance. Here, hand-dug artisanal pits sit directly alongside massive industrial operations, exposing the stark reality of the resource curse. A region fueling the digital revolution of the modern world while receiving almost none of its benefits. Within these hand-dug pits, the physical burden of the global tech industry falls on the most vulnerable. An estimated 40,000 children work across these informal cobalt mines, some as young as 6 or 7 years old. Severe poverty forces families to make an impossible choice, pulling children out of classrooms to help put food on the table. Instead of getting an education, they spend their days in the red dirt, their childhoods bartered for basic survival. These children carry heavy, overloaded sacks of raw ore, balancing them on their heads and shoulders, while moving through narrow tunnels dug more than 30 meters down into the earth. For a grueling, day-long shift of intense manual labor, they earn only $1 to $2. The cost of this meager wage is measured in more than just lost futures. Without masks, gloves, or basic protective gear, these young workers constantly inhale fine metallic dust. This toxic exposure regularly triggers painful skin diseases and chronic, life-threatening respiratory illnesses. Over time, heavy metals accumulate in their growing bodies, leaving permanent physical damage. It is a silent, devastating toll paid daily so that a distant, connected world can keep its screens glowing. Inside the hand-dug shafts, the hazard of toxic exposure quickly gives way to the threat of sudden, violent collapse. The earth in this region is notoriously unstable. Miners descend into these dark pits with nothing but handheld flashlights, digging without timber supports, helmets, or safety harnesses. At any moment, the walls can give way. These sudden cave-ins, locally known as éboulements, bury workers alive under tons of heavy clay. When disasters occur in these informal pits, no rescue teams arrive and no official investigations follow. Most fatalities go completely unreported, quiet tragedies swallowed by the soil. Yet, despite the constant threat of being buried alive, the pits remain crowded. Without other industries in the region, local families must balance the immediate threat of starvation against the daily gamble of the shafts. From the hand-dug pits, the raw ore is carried to local open-air markets and sold to buying houses. Here, traders aggregate the mineral, mixing artisanal batches with industrial supplies, erasing the identity of the workers who dug them. More than 90% of this cobalt is loaded onto cargo ships bound for China. Huge refining firms such as Huayu Cobalt process the raw mineral into battery-grade chemicals. Once refined, the metal flows into manufacturing hubs across Asia, where it is sealed inside the lithium-ion cells that power global electronics. By the time a finished smartphone lands in a retail store in the United States or Europe, the supply chain has completely scrubbed away its origin, leaving global brands with no clear way to trace the human cost of their power. Mining and refining wash heavy metals, sulfuric acid, and arsenic into the local water system. The Luilu and Mura rivers carry toxic loads far above safe limits, triggering massive fish kills and poisoning the drinking water of entire villages. Fields once green with maize now lie barren, contaminated with cadmium and lead that accumulate in leafy crops. Local families suffer from skin dermatitis, severe respiratory illness, and a fourfold increase in neural tube birth defects, transforming Katanga and Lualaba into toxic sacrifice zones. Yet, minor cracks are forming in this supply chain. Some industries are adopting cobalt-free lithium iron phosphate batteries, though their lower energy density remains a hurdle for thin smartphones. Recycling facilities now recover a quarter of global cobalt, a share that could double by the end of the decade. On the consumer side, extending a phone's lifespan to 4 years, choosing repair over replacement, and demanding certified sourcing can gradually reduce this relentless ecological pressure. Every illuminated screen is a window built on silent, distant sacrifice. As the world transitions to a green future, we must ask, who are we leaving in the dark? The true cost of connection isn't paid in dollars, but in human lives. Share your thoughts in the comments below.